You are able to hear me? How do I know? I am live. Okay, looks like I am live. Comment moderation not set. Okay, live 13 seconds, it's showing up. That means it's an indication that I should start. I don't have any other indication. Thank you all very much for giving 30 minutes of your life to me. But it started live here. So we'll have to wait and start. Okay, there's another, oh, sorry guys, there is another 35-40 seconds. Let me wait for that 35-40 seconds. I have been coordinating with one very sweet person by name Raki and of course the nice Pratima. Uh, ah, First time I'm doing a Facebook Live. I would have done hundreds of webinars on the other platforms. So nice that all of you could be here, and it's 40 seconds left. Done. We are live. Thank you guys. We are live. I had started a little before coming here, then I got a notice that I'll have to wait for a minute and a half. And as you see, the COVID times have been good, and sometimes it has been bad, but it is up to us to see it as good. Moved into our office. You can see a part of our office here, and hardly anybody there. Just 3 or 4 of us are functioning per floor. Just like to introduce myself for a couple of seconds before I would like to share what is there. My name is Guru and I represent my firm Guru and Jana. It's an accounting firm. By profession, I'm a chartered accountant, and fortunately, I didn't have much work to do. Maybe I just started studying, and went on to do my law and my IBC, my program with the Indian Institute of Management, and currently I'm a trustee of the Indian Institute of Management. And it's been a joy coming here and speaking to you. Without much ado, let me start off and tell what is it I have in my mind to share. We have around 30 minutes time with us, and in this 30 minutes, I would like to share some of my extraordinary experiences I gained when I wrote my third book. My third book is titled as The God in the Boardroom, and I got the concept of this book as I was with my teacher Mahatriya in the Lahari lawns, and felt the world should know what goes behind these corporate leaders in building such a large organizations for themselves. Is it pure skill set? Is it pure talent? Or is it their spiritual connect? Or is it their corporate strategy? How is it they get this large global organizations? Set out with this in my hand. I didn't know many global leaders, even though we work for some of them. I do work for Tata's, we do work for companies like Dr. Reddy's, but obviously when we work as a professional services firm, we may not know the board members or the founders of the corporations. So without much of information, few of the people I knew, so I started writing the book, The God in the Boardroom, and it was a genesis where I had to go and interview them. And when we interview them, there were so many insights which could come. I'm not going to share of the insights what is there in the book. The book is there for everybody to read. But having said that, I would like to share what is it I picked up. Uh, I hope you didn't listen to whatever I told till now? Okay, if at all somebody had not listened, at least they would have given some notes. Either Pratima, Ravi, or Arun would have given some notes. They didn't give. I presume that you have heard what I have spoken. Okay, now I'm done. You've not missed much. I just gave a little introduction of mine and the book. In the limited time, I would tell what is it I picked up a few things from these extraordinary leaders. I will try to make it anecdotal. Go back and experience this. So the first one I would like to talk about is Deepak Parekh, who's the founder chairman of the HDFC Bank. And many of us have home loans from HDFC, credit cards, banking. I didn't know this gentleman. I just called up the board line and told, this is what I am doing. I would like to do this for writing a book, and the funds go to a charity. And the moment I told this, they put me onto his corporate secretary, and the corporate secretary was able to get me an interview with Mr. Deepak Parekh. And as I went into his office, please close that door. As I went into his office in Bombay, it was one of the most beautiful offices I have seen in my lifetime. Extremely modern, granite, marble, and everything. And thereafter, I went and met him. I had taken a small Ganesh Ji ka idol with me. And as soon as I took a small Ganesh Ji ka idol, he was so glad that he took this idol and kept it in a showcase and told me, Guru, is this suiting the place? So a lot of simplicity in the man. And as we started talking deeper and deeper onto the subject, I asked him a question, sir, you possibly are the richest banker in the country. How come you have such an old phone, which is a Nokia 3310 phone or something like that? How come you have a phone of that nature? And he immediately told, why is it I need something which I don't need? The entire uh, essence of the talk was, why do I need something which I don't need? And he went on to tell, I have just two suits to wear. And I looked at his socks. It was just a regular socks. He had a couple of few pairs of socks and nothing much. Then I asked him a question. Then how come you have such an office? An office of this grandeur, possibly the richest office I would have seen. And his cabin would be the size of this hall here, 3, 4,000, 5,000 square feet sort of a cabin. I told, look, I don't need any of these things. I need this only to the chairman of the bank. This is for the Bill Clintons and Manmohan Singhs who come and meet me here. And he went on to tell, I still don't have a house. The man who has financed millions and millions of homes across India, and he does not have a house, that looks pretty perplexing to me. And he came back and told, wherever I have to buy a house, the bank would have financed that person. And if the bank has financed them, there is a conflict of interest for me to buy the house. So I still stay in the house which was gifted by my father, which is a 2-bedroom house. As and when you meet somebody of that stature, it starts becoming such an imperative thing to set up my organization that when he can be as simple as that, why can't we have simplicity in easy talks of our life and easy walks of our life? Armed with that, we started capturing that sense of simplicity in every technology we use. In the office, the way we design the office. Just look at this office. This is a part of our office. This is a building which is constructed without anything at all. There is nothing in this building. In the sense, there is no brick, there is no cement. It is just sheets, and as you can see, the roof. It's just a tilting roof. We don't have electric power. We don't have water connection. We don't have a cabin. In fact, for the city of Bangalore, where I speak from, we don't even have an air condition. But this has given enormous results at the nature of working. As we go to these leaders and learn and implement it, everything makes a beautiful saga of life. So we have implemented this nature of simplicity, and why do I need what I don't need in our reporting mechanism, in the technology we use, in the user interface screens what we do. The moment we have a screen for our office, the question we ask is, why do we need what we don't need? And that becomes a mantra for life. And that is how most of the institutions he has built has been the same. The second instance I would like to share is a very nice instance which I experienced in Chennai, and I had interviewed another banker. This time it was Mr. Narayanan Vagul of ICICI Bank, a fabulous banker by itself. And today HDFC and ICICI are representing private banks to a very, very large extent. Today, they are in almost any forums, any large lending, any large borrowing, any large scheme, these two banks are there. And again, through some network, I met Mr. Narayanan and took the interview of him. And that interview was for a period of around 3 hours or something. And we have a protocol that in every interview, let us take photographs with them so that we have a memorabilia. And this interview was such depth of experience for me that 3 hours just went like it was 5 minutes. I felt my teacher Mahatreya was talking. He was just talking and he was in a flow, and I could not even notice how time flew. And we forgot to take the photograph in total. There was no photograph for that session. And after I wrote the book, I wanted to present the book to all these leaders, and I myself went to give the book to them. I tried to contact Mr. Vagul, and apparently he was reasonably busy, and I could not get an appointment with him. He was staying in Chennai, and I had to go and meet him. But later I had gone to Chennai for something, and I thought, let me just take a chance. And even if the chairman is not there, let me meet his secretary and just hand it over to them and go. And as my car parked into the ICSA campus, and the driver was parking the car, and I just got down, I could see Mr. Bagul going away in his car for another meeting. And he saw me and he just slowed down, and being the man he is, he opened the window and wished me, and I also wished him. And I told him, "Sir, I came to give the book to you, but I think you are going out somewhere. I would not like to stop you. So is it okay if I hand over the book here?" So I just handed over the book to him there. And he saw me and told, "Mr. Guru, you are an author. You are a chartered accountant. I don't think it is befitting for me to take a book from an author in a car parking stand. I would like to take it with that respect it deserves." With these words, he took me back to the boardroom. We had the customary photograph. And he could have not been made it so special. He called a few general managers who were there and spoke about the book. And he told, "Thank you for writing this." And there ended it. The 3 hours of interview I took of him, and again it collapses down on this meeting when I met him, would give me everlasting memories. Even when I see his interview, he always told one thing, telling, "Flow with the flow. Don't spoil too much of your brains in what's happening. Just go ahead with the flow." And when I read his book, whatever I wrote about him, he has not ever obstructed anything which has happened to him. He has just gone and told, "Okay, my Lord possibly is wanting me to do this." And he just went and did this. We are all in this COVID times, the Chinese virus has taken over our lives. Not once as an organization head, I was worried. Not once as an organization leader, there was a concern in my tone. There were days where we used to send out 4 new proposals to 4 new clients. Of course, the same is not present today, but that has not affected because the words "flow with the flow" is still with me. And that has become an integral part of life. We have been flowing with the flow, and everywhere my teacher also tells, "Flow with the flow." Even today, when COVID is going down, in the last 25 years in my profession, I had not submitted a proposal of that magnitude. We recently submitted a proposal to a client of a huge uh, billing. And Chinese virus is there, economy is down, people are worried. Even today, as I speak to you, I am engaging in conversations with new clients ranging to lakhs of rupees of business. The only reason I could table before you is, let's flow with the flow. There is a flow, let's not try to break it, let the thought process not break. And we all are going into this essence of life. And this was my second meeting with somebody like a Narayanan Bagul, who took us by a thunderstorm in this country when ICICI started so many initiatives. ICICI and HDFC are one of the few banks which came to the doorstep of the customer, unlike the earlier nationalization, where it was a big thing for me to even see the manager. They changed the entire banking spectrum. And as we see today, technology is taking over a lot of it. And as I talk about technology, I have another 14 and a half minutes to talk to. Yeah, 14 and a half minutes. And as I talk about technology, I would also like to talk about one great man who did this unbelievable technology. Sure, many of you would have seen the movie Padman, where Akshay Kumar played the role of Padman making these sanitary pads. His wife wanted the pads didn't want the pads because it is expensive, and he didn't want his wife to suffer. So he went about discovering an Indian sanitary pad and tried to make it sold at a very low price. And as you see in the movie, one of the actresses tells we should patent it. And he gets perplexed, and the padman in the movie tells, why would I need to patent it? I think this is absurd for me to patent it. I should not patent this at all. I invented this machine for the world. So I would not like to patent it and I would like to give it to the world. And with this thought, I thought, I have interviewed global leaders like HDFC chairman, and of course, I've worked with many of them. I would like to share an instance with the chairman of the managing director of the Tata Group after this. We have worked with them. So, as we talk about Padman, myself and my partner drove to interior Coimbatore, and even the Google map could not locate very well this pattern. And when we entered there and we found out it was an old shed. And by this time, the original padman, the Arunachalam Muruganandam, who was also authored by me in my book, gave me the address and we went to his shed, factory shed. Extremely average looking shed, just like any other small time workshop. And by then, Arunachalam Muruganathan had already spoken to every IIM in the country, every Harvard, every Stanford. And he goes on to tell that Bill Gates called him for a meeting for 1 hour, and that meeting went on for one full day. And the same transpired with nobody else like Bill Gates, he told me. I don't remember, but of course, every industrial leader has met him. And somebody like that having a shed of this nature, we came early and he had not yet reached. We were sitting next to the tree, and he came casually in an old car and he opened the shed door by himself. And he told us his life stories. It was a remarkable experience. He was talking about why did he invent this and pretty much what Akshay Kumar has told in the movie. But we were seeing the real genesis of the machine come out there. And he showed us how he operates the machine. And I told him, apart from the interview, as I was telling, what did I learn apart from the interview? I told him, Muruganandam sir, why is it you are doing opening the shutter and opening everything on your own? Don't you have a team to do this for you? Well, yes, I have a team. There is no doubt. I have sold machines across the world. My machines are sold in Africa, Malaysia, Tibet, upper regions of Himalayas, and everywhere. And I have made millions of women self-reliant by selling this machine to them. I don't sell a machine. I give them a livelihood is my thought. I have people. But why is it I can't do it? If I stop doing what I am doing, I'll soon forget it and I'll never be able to know the intricate details. Today, if a woman calls me from Tripura and tells, Arunachalam, your machine is not working, I exactly know. Look, you have not seen the last two parts. Go down to this part and pull out this part and put it. I don't have to go back to somebody and tell, okay, I'll get back to your technical committee and this committee will come and tell. He, in fact, ridiculed corporate boards and told, what is this boards about? You are only sharing information. You are not discussing any ideas. And this person again came back and gave me some views which has helped me a lot in set up our processes. We set up our processes, and as soon as I met him and came back, we created a value system called hands-on. If a head of the organization is heading the organization, he knows strategy, he knows the bigger aspects, but yet the head of the organization needs to be hands-on. Today, as I run a smaller establishment as compared to these large giants, Guru and Jana is also one of the largest chartered accountancy firms, domestic chartered accountancy firms in the country today. And even though I'm a management team representative of this, I'm a leadership team. If some small journal entry has to be done or a bank reconciliation statement has to be done, I can do it. Not that I cannot do it. But yes, I have a team to do it. I don't have to do it all the time. But that does not mean I don't know how to do it. So as I jump on to my next experience, Many of you could relate with me when you go to the Bombay House. Bombay House is in the Flora in Bombay, and that is how the Tata set up their office. A colonial old building, a fabulous building, a stone building. And as I entered the building to conduct one of the board meetings for one of the Tata Group companies as a consultant, the first thing which saw me was as I entered, the security was friendly. We got the passes and we entered the most famous corporate house of India. And I could see a manager walk in. And as she stepped in, she just went to the statue of Jamshedji Tata, touched his feet, and went on to do her work. And that was my first visit to the Bombay House. And as I entered the board meeting, the boardroom was a colonial, fabulous, decored 50, 70-year-old boardroom. The grandness, the richness, the history, the nostalgia was something which I was amazed of. And I just went early to set up the board papers, to set up my presentations and stuff like that. And thanked the person who took me to this board meeting. And I was waiting for the chairman. The chairman was none other than Mr. Gopalakrishnan. He headed the Tata Group and he was a part of the Tata Sons, headed Hindustan Lever, product of IIT, IIM, and the author of many books, many books. And I wrote to him. As we did work, I knew about him and I had conducted his board meetings. And he used to be a gentleman in these board meetings. One of the most good experiences I have in board meetings where business used to be tough, but respect used to be the epitome and essence of everything. The moment you enter the boardroom, you can see the essence of the Tata Group. You can see the consciousness present in every tool, in every table, in every chair, in the way things are done, the ceremoniality of everything. The board meeting starts formally, it happens well and it happens as per the task. And as it is happening, we then go down and minute every board resolution, which is done with utmost sincerity. The essence of this board meetings really swept very deep into me. But I'll go back and talk about Gopal, whom I had interviewed. And I don't know whether there is going to be question and answer session. And I'm not even able to see my chats. Okay, there are many chats. Okay, there are chats down here. Okay. I wouldn't know how the question and answers work. Maybe it's going to come out as a sort of a chat down here. I will take up the chats down. Recently, I was conducting one more webinar for the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India during the COVID times. And we had around 40,000 people watch that webinar. And it was a inspiring moment for me to see the number of questions which kept up there. And I took almost 5 days to reply to the chats with a team of people around there. So, as I spoke about Gopal sir also is author of many books. I observed one thing when I interviewed these global leaders, to name Deepak Parekh, ICICI chairman Vagul, Dr. Reddy's group chairman Prasad, Apollo chairman Sangeeta Reddy, Alec Padamsee, who was an ad man of India, unfortunately is not there with us today, or Book My Show, the youngster in compared to all this, Ashish Hemrajani, or the people who come like Vinita Bali, who headed the Britannia and the Coke and also represented India as a person who tried to drive nutrition for the country, and so on and so forth. The names are fabulous there. There were three things which I struck as extremely, three things which I picked up common among everybody. It was a commonality among everybody. One, everybody were audacious readers. They were amazing readers. Any room I step in, there is a huge library. When we went to Apollo's thing, there were thousands of books Sangeeta Reddy had kept in. Go to G.V. Prasad, his books are everything for me. So even at a person of that level and that stature, they see everything. And Alec Padamsee is, I don't think even the toilet there was not without books. Those were the number of books he had written. We went on to Gopal Krishnan sir, beautiful books. He's an avid reader and also an avid writer. Gopala Krishnan also has been a fabulous writer by himself. So name it, they were book readers, all of them. So that is one thing which I really, really amazed me. The second important thing, there was an aura about all these people whom I interviewed. But the nicest thing I observed them is they relate with people. Not even one of them, not even a single one of them hid behind their chair. I'm the chairman of HDFC. I'm the chairman of Book My Show. I'm the chairman of Apollo. Not even one. They just came across as a regular human being having simplest of the virtues of life. Simple principles of life which they followed to the deepest essence. I could observe an innate sense of simplicity among all the people I interviewed. They were not overtly bothered about their image. Ashish Rajani, being the head of the organization, wore a t-shirt and one regular jeans, and he was telling Guru, coffee piyega aap? And that is the way he related. Somebody like a G.V. Prasad walked in with just a white shirt and a Dockers and sat down. And even somebody like Narayanan Babul had just a out shirt and a shirt and sandals. I could get an amazing sense of simplicity. Not that they were not grand, they were all dressed superbly, extremely clean, extremely well. That was the second essence I found. Extreme level of simple relationships with every human being. And the third I built, third was the most important thing when you meet somebody like a Vinita Bali, or which you realize the most important thing is the past is gone. They have achieved amazing laurels for the country, possibly huge wealth for themselves. They have created global organizations. Each of them could be employing at least 50,000 people by themselves. Each of them would be responsible for 50,000 families. But not one of them has bothered about their past. Not even one talked. I achieved this. I built this bank. I built this brand. I created this organization. There was nothing of the past. The entire past for all of them was gone. Everybody only spoke about, I would like to do this to the society. I would like to create this impact for the world. I would like to build this next organization. We would like to build a platform like Book My Show. This is my new toy. This is my new venture. So every of them had only these three principles behind them. That was the commonality I saw in all of them. Avid readers, amazing readers. All of them I sent my book and they have written a personal letter what they thanked in my book. All of them. All of them I sent my second book which was not related to them, they wrote back. All of them I sent my third book, GST, where did my profits go? All of them wrote back. Those are the essences of them. Avid readers. Simplicity implemented in life. Third, past is past. They did not live on past laurels. The past laurels didn't mean anything to them at all. Then I would like to use the next 3 minutes left to me to talk about Gopal. Gopal sir has been an MBA and IIT, what all unbelievable human being. But he was narrating one story. As he was narrating that story in my interview, you all can see that in my website, thegodintheboardroom.com. As he was narrating this story about it, this was around 20 years ago, and that small story made his life. He was already a top-notch MBA or IIT, the big names, and he was already earning a very big name in Hindustan Lever. And he had called people for interview, and one man didn't turn up for the interview. And this man didn't turn up for the interview, and Gopal sir was quite amazed. How come this man didn't turn up for the interview? And in the evening, after all the interviews were over, he saw one guy coming in with a box of sweets, running, and told, I was supposed to come for the interview, I did not come for the interview. And Mr. Gopal immediately told, so what's the big thing about it? You missed the interview and you're coming now. What do you want to do now? He just told, sir, I just want to share a good news. As I stepped out of home, I was fully looking forward for the interview, and my wife went into labor pains, and I had to be the man for her. I took her to the hospital. And I have not come here to ask for the interview. I have not come here to ask for the job. I know I missed my chance. But I have come here to share my joy. I became a father today. These are my sweets. And Mr. Gopal saw him in his eyes, and he felt, this is a genuine guy. Why should we look at everybody at the core principle of genuinity? Let me go back to the humanity. So when I wrote about him, I titled his book, his article called Humanity. And since then, he goes back and tells, everywhere I have related my corporate principles to humanity. So, my friends, when we look at all these leaders who built these global organizations, not that they were the best MBAs or the best IITs of Kharagpur or Delhi, they were not the best of the technology people. When Ashish Hemarajani built a book by show, he was not the best of the techie. But these are guys who have got the best of the vision, best of the passion. And I could end my talk by telling a common principle with everybody. When Ajay Piramal was interviewed, he just told, I just do what my Krishna tells me to do. The common principle between everybody I interviewed was they all believed there was a force above them. They all believed this force directs us. And as long as our principles and core values are deep into our systems, I would sum up talking a little how does it help an organization. Our organization has been built on learnings from these type of people. Of course, we work with some of the global leaders, global giants. I don't just look at it as a service provided to them. I would look at it as an opportunity to learn from them. So daily I get opportunity and the joy of meeting all these people, interacting with them. We come back and inculcate a simple tool of technology, a simple tool of office management, a creation of a service product, creation of a line, creation of a template for an organization, or possibly creation of a prayer. So, as I sum up, it is not important what we see them. What is important is what we see, have we implemented them? Everybody hears to masters of the word. Everybody talks big things. We learn from books, we learn from scriptures. Unless the learning gets translated to implementation, it doesn't serve any purpose. As I speak to you from our organization, I'm so proud and at the same time humbled that every single principle we pick up has been implemented to the last took, to the last teeth in the organization. We are not left anything to implementation. So it's not much how much I gain knowledge from all of these people. Am I good at implementation? Ideas come from 1,000 places. But are you good at implementation? I part with this. Think over. We all learn from everywhere. Maybe you have picked up a few things even with this webinar of mine or with this Facebook live of mine. But what is it you implement? That would make the difference between the haves and the have-nots. That would make all the difference between the doers and the seers. That would make all the difference between the implementers and the listeners. Let's not be wisdom couriers. Let's go out there, do what has to be done. Let us implement what has to be done. Thanks, Pratima, for this fabulous opportunity, and thanks, Raki, for being patient with my understanding of Facebook. And thank you all for being here. And I bid bye to you. Stay safe, stay happy. It is just a virus. Let us take precautions. Let us be careful. But let's not stop living. Let's not stop living. Let's not stop loving. Bye bye.